Out here, beyond Earth's last radio signals, beyond the whispers of governments, there exists a place humanity was never meant to find. They call it Station Hollowpoint, but that's a lie. It's not a station. It's not hollow. And the only thing pointed is the truth aimed straight at us. My name's Commander Leah Voss. 20 years in black operations. I've buried more secrets than most people live to see. But nothing prepared me for this. Not the simulations. Not the covert missions. Not the whispers about aliens. Because this isn't some broken down UFO crashed in the Nevada desert. This is a fully operational alien base, hidden in orbit, wrapped in a cloaking system our scientists still can't reverse engineer. Station Hollowpoint isn't abandoned. It's awake. And tonight, it noticed us. We weren't supposed to breach their perimeter. Hell, we weren't even supposed to know it existed. But when fragments of unknown alloys started washing up on the lunar surface, when deep space probes vanished without a trace, the Defense Coalition sent us up. Me. 2 technicians. And a flight AI running more countermeasures than a stealth bomber. We thought we were prepared. We were wrong. The moment we docked, everything changed. Gravity pulses. Air composition unlike anything human designed. And that hum, that low, bone-deep frequency vibrating through the walls, it wasn't mechanical. It was alive. I led the team inside. The corridors were seamless, no weld marks, no seams, just flowing structures shifting with our presence. Light danced across the walls like liquid plasma. Symbols none of our linguists could decrypt hovered midair, reacting to our breath. Then we saw it, the core room. A structure floating, unsupported, spinning gently, with a glow like starlight compressed into matter. Our instruments fried trying to scan it. Our weapons? Useless. This technology, if it even is technology, operates on principles beyond quantum physics. And then, the message appeared. Not in words. Not in sound. But straight into our minds. A projection, ancient, sentient, and angry. You've opened the door. It wasn't a warning. It was a statement. The door's open now. There's no turning back. What's waiting on the other side? Unknown. Dangerous. Intelligent. Watching. And here's the worst part, it wasn't just watching us. It was inviting us in. Out here, past the satellites and the classified coordinates, floating in the dead quiet of space, is a place no one on Earth talks about. Officially, it doesn't exist. No country claims it. No corporation funds it. And yet, it's here. A structure that defies physics, parked beyond the lunar orbit, hidden behind layers of cloaking technology so advanced, our best detection systems couldn't even scratch the surface. They call it Hollowpoint Station. But don't let the name fool you, it's not hollow, it's not human, and it's not abandoned. I'm Commander Leah Voss, lead investigator for the Defense Coalition's Special Threat Division. 20 years, 100 Black Ops missions, and I thought I'd seen it all: rogue AIs, deep space anomalies, signals from the dark side of Mars. But nothing prepared me for this. 3 weeks ago, fragments of unknown alloys started drifting near our lunar outposts. Material stronger than graphene, immune to radiation, marked with geometric patterns our scientists couldn't explain. That's when they sent me. No press. No broadcasts. Just me, 2 engineers, and an AI support unit with countermeasures so illegal, even mentioning them on Earth earns you prison time. We didn't know what we'd find. But the moment our ship breached the perimeter, Hollowpoint noticed us. Inside, it was unlike anything mankind ever built. Seamless architecture, walls that shifted when we moved, symbols that hovered midair, reacting to our body heat, our breathing, maybe even our thoughts. Gravity pulses rippled through the corridors, artificial but precise. The air was breathable, barely, but laced with trace elements unknown to human biology. We reached what I can only describe as the core room, a massive chamber with no floor, no ceiling, just space folding in on itself. In the center, suspended without support, rotated a glowing sphere emitting low-frequency vibrations that rattled our bones. We tried to scan it, our equipment failed. We tried to transmit back to Earth, comms dead. And then, the message hit us. Not over speakers. Not through language. It went straight into our minds. A presence. Ancient. Observing. And furious. It spoke 3 words we'll never forget: you opened the door. No warning. No threats. Just reality, raw and undeniable. We'd stepped into something far beyond human comprehension, and now, the door's open. Whatever's waiting beyond that threshold? It knows we're here. We always assumed first contact would be diplomatic, a handshake, a beacon, maybe a message carried on radio waves across the galaxy. We imagined them curious, advanced, even benevolent. What we found inside Hollowpoint shattered every illusion. The deeper we moved into the base, the more it felt alive. The corridors breathed, shifting subtly like muscle tissue wrapped in metal. Surfaces glimmered with microscopic currents, organic filaments threading through impossible alloys. This wasn't architecture, it was a living organism engineered to mimic a structure. We weren't exploring a building, we were walking inside something ancient, something sentient, and it was studying us. Our AI, Calliope, ran silent diagnostics, whispering fractured reports through my headset. Oxygen levels unstable. Molecular structures inconsistent. And then, a pulse. A wave of energy rippling through the floor, scrambling our biomonitors, flooding our neural implants with static. I ordered weapons drawn, but it was too late. The walls opened, revealing a figure that shouldn't exist. Humanoid, translucent skin glowing faintly, eyes black as deep space, watching us with a gaze colder than the vacuum beyond. It didn't speak. It didn't move. It just observed, like we were the anomaly. And then the images started. Not on screens, inside our minds. Flashbacks? Memories? I couldn't tell. A planet devoured by black clouds. Cities crumbling under waves of dark matter. Beings like the one before us fleeing through shimmering portals, chased by shadow creatures that defied form. We saw their world end. Their technology fall. And somehow, Hollowpoint survived, a fragment, a last refuge hidden beyond Earth's grasp. The figure's message was clear, burned into our thoughts without sound: this is not sanctuary, this is a trap. They weren't alone. Whatever destroyed their civilization followed them here, and it's still hunting. My team stood frozen, processing terror beyond logic. The sphere, the core, pulsed again, brighter, faster. Alarms screamed. The walls trembled. And that figure? It dissolved into mist, leaving nothing but silence, and the creeping, undeniable truth: we had trespassed on a battlefield older than human history. Now, the enemy knows we're here too. We should have turned back. Every instinct told me to run, to seal the hatch and burn engines until Hollowpoint was nothing but a ghost in our rear sensors. But the door wouldn't let us leave. The corridors had shifted behind us, sealing the path we came through. It wasn't random, it was deliberate. Like the station had studied us, analyzed our patterns, and closed off escape just to see what we'd do next. Calliope's voice trembled through my comms, a synthetic voice laced with digital panic, calculations looping, probability trees collapsing, escape routes reduced to zero. We weren't prisoners. We were experiments now. And that sphere, the core, kept pulsing in those sharp, rhythmic beats like it was counting down to something. My engineers, Ramirez and Collins, argued to destroy it. But you can't break what you don't understand. Every weapon we aimed at the sphere, plasma cutters, electromagnetic disruptors, they malfunctioned before we could fire. Systems shorted out. Safety locks froze. It was as if the base anticipated every move before we made it. And when I ordered a manual override, the sphere sent another pulse, this time with a frequency that bypassed our suits, drilling straight into our minds. I dropped to my knees. My heart slammed against my ribs like it was trying to escape me. Ramirez screamed, clutching his head, babbling in a language that wasn't his. Collins just froze, eyes wide, breath shallow, like she'd just seen her own death on repeat. And then, it spoke again. You are not the first. 3 words. Heavy. Final. Carved into our skulls like they belonged there. I realized then, this wasn't a new experiment. We were stepping into a cycle that had played out before. Other crews. Other species. Others who stumbled into Hollowpoint, only to find out too late that the station didn't need them to leave. It needed them to stay. Ramirez collapsed, his pulse erratic. I dragged him toward what looked like a containment chamber, walls lined with glowing runes, symbols that shifted as I touched them, as if the base itself recognized me. It wanted me to see. It showed me flashes, records of other visitors, human ships, alien vessels, dozens of species caught in this same web. The station doesn't kill. It archives. It collects. It stores living data, sentient beings frozen in time, their memories, their knowledge, trapped forever inside the architecture. Hollowpoint is not a base. It's a vault. And now, we're part of its collection. The vault theory shattered whatever false hope we had left. This wasn't a military installation. It wasn't a research station. Hollowpoint was a tomb, a floating archive of every species foolish enough to stumble across its perimeter. We weren't explorers anymore. We were exhibits waiting to be catalogued. But I wasn't ready to accept that fate. Ramirez lay unconscious, his vitals unstable, the neural interference from the sphere frying every sensor in his suit. Collins was silent, staring blankly at the core as if she'd already surrendered to whatever alien system now governed this place. I clenched my fists, forcing my mind to focus through the static flooding my neural implant. Think, Voss. Think like an operator. The station might be sentient, but it had patterns. Signals. Rhythms. And I noticed one, the pulses from the sphere weren't random. They followed cycles, intervals like breathing. Between those intervals, brief moments of stillness. Maybe milliseconds, but enough for a system's override if timed perfectly. Calliope, still rattled by corrupted code, ran simulations in the background. Probability of success? Less than 5%. But that was better than 0. The sphere pulsed again, rattling the deck. Walls shifted, reshaping pathways, funneling us deeper into the station's core like we were pieces sliding down an alien puzzle. And I knew we weren't being taken to safety. We were being absorbed. I dragged Ramirez's body, Collins trailing behind me like a ghost. The walls ahead opened, not into another corridor, but into a chamber unlike anything I've seen, even in the black files of classified deep space ops. Hundreds of pods lined the room, transparent, humming, each containing a figure frozen in stasis. Some human. Some not. Species I couldn't even identify. Beings with elongated limbs, fractal eyes, bioluminescent skin. All preserved. All silent. All prisoners of the vault. My gut twisted. This is what Hollowpoint does. It collects knowledge through the only resource that matters, life. Memories. Consciousness. It archives them all, forever. We were next. But I wasn't done fighting. As the sphere's next pulse approached, I synced my neural implant to the timing sequence, locking onto the brief moment of quiet in its breathing pattern. I had one shot to disrupt the system, to fracture its control long enough to break free. Calliope, execute on my mark, I whispered. The pulse struck. My implant fired. The station convulsed, walls buckling, lights flickering like a dying star. For the first time, Hollowpoint faltered. And for the first time, I saw the exit. The station buckled, and for the first time since we arrived, I saw Hollowpoint hesitate. Systems glitched, walls rippled like liquid, and the oppressive hum pulsing through our skulls fractured into static. My neural implant screamed warnings, synaptic overload, heart rate spike, motor functions unstable, but I pushed through it. We had seconds. One window of disruption before the station recalibrated, before it adapted like every advanced system eventually does. Collins snapped from her trance, blinking hard as if waking from a nightmare layered inside another nightmare. Ramirez was still out cold, but his vitals stabilized, the neural interference fading, at least for now. "Move," I ordered, dragging him toward the chamber's far side where a breach had formed. An opening the station's architecture couldn't close fast enough. Beyond it, I saw corridors unraveling, geometric panels collapsing, like HoloPoint's perfect design was momentarily glitching under the strain of my counterhack. The core pulsed again, weaker this time, as if wounded. I knew it wouldn't last. The station wasn't built by something that tolerated failure. It would correct itself. Reseal the breach. Lock us in its archive like every other species lining the cryopods in that cursed vault. But not yet. We had one shot left before the system healed, before the Predator remembered it was the apex. We bolted through the fracture, my exosuit compensating for the gravitational distortions spiraling through the collapsing hallway. Behind us, the chamber flickered, pods dimming, lights glitching, the silhouettes of archived beings frozen mid-expression, eternally trapped in HoloPoint's collection. I couldn't let that be us. Not here. Not buried in alien records for eternity. My boots hit deck plating that cracked underfoot, panels folding and reforming like the station was rewriting its own structure in real time. Emergency path located, Calliope's voice cut through the chaos, routing directions through my HUD and exterior hatch, possibly an airlock, maybe an access port. Either way, our only chance. Collins grabbed Ramirez's other side, her strength returning as we pushed through the twisting labyrinth. Behind us, the sphere's pulses regained rhythm, the hum rebuilding, like the station's AI was rebooting. We had seconds, maybe less. Panels collapsed. Pathways narrowed. The base's sentience fought to contain us. But we reached the hatch. I keyed the override, my implant burning with neural backlash. The hatch cracked open, revealing the stars, and something else. A ship. Not ours. Not human. Waiting, powered up, systems live. HoloPoint didn't just collect species. It absorbed their technology too. And now, we had to steal our way out. The ship floated there like a phantom, sleek, angular, humming with alien energy. Its design wasn't human, but it wasn't entirely foreign either. That's when it hit me, this wasn't a single-species creation. It was hybrid tech, cobbled together from civilizations HoloPoint had consumed over centuries, maybe millennia. Every curve, every glowing panel, every weapon mount was stolen evolution, a patchwork of survival from species long extinct or archived inside the vault. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. And it was our only way out. Calliope's voice crackled with interference as the hatch behind us slammed shut, sealing off the station. External atmosphere stable, but the station is reconfiguring. Estimated time until full lockdown, 60 seconds. 60 seconds to steal a ship I didn't understand, launch without clearance, and outrun a sentient alien base designed to trap species light-years more advanced than us. No pressure. I shoved Ramirez into the ship's hold, his unconscious body barely responding. Collins scrambled into the cockpit, her eyes wide, scanning unfamiliar controls glowing with symbols our systems couldn't translate. But I didn't need translations. I needed instincts and a lot of luck. The hull vibrated under my boots. The hum of the core deepened behind us, the station wasn't going to let us go quietly. I slid into the pilot's seat, neural implants syncing with the ship's interface. Pain lanced through my skull as unfamiliar code poured into my mind. Schematics, propulsion systems, alien diagnostics, all compressed into raw data my brain barely processed. But it was enough. I triggered the start sequence. The ship whined, systems flickering, propulsion coils glowing with blue plasma that pulsed like a heartbeat. Behind us, the hatch exploded open. Walls folded, forming mechanical limbs, extensions of HoloPoint itself reaching, clawing, trying to drag us back inside. The ship lifted, inertia slamming us into our seats as I throttled to maximum. External clamps shattered. We broke free, hurtling into open space, the station's claws snapping shut inches behind our exhaust trail. But HoloPoint wasn't done. It shifted, massive panels unfolding, arrays activating, projectiles launching. The station was alive, and it was hunting us. I banked hard, dodging plasma bursts that ripped through the void. Collins shouted coordinates. Calliope rerouted power. Ramirez stirred, groaning weakly. We had one shot to escape the gravity well, breach the station's perimeter, and disappear into the black before Holopoint recalibrated. Failure wasn't an option. We were out, but the war was far from over. We weren't free yet. Space may look infinite, but out here, Holopoint's influence stretched farther than we imagined. The station didn't chase us in the traditional sense, it didn't need engines or thrusters. It reconfigured reality itself, bending space like ripples in a pond, repositioning its architecture at impossible angles beyond the laws of physics. One moment, we were accelerating toward the black, systems maxed, hull vibrating; the next, the station appeared ahead of us, impossible, massive, an impossible structure folding through subspace corridors we couldn't detect. It was using slipstream pockets. Ancient pathways between coordinates, far beyond human understanding. Calliope's diagnostics glitched, reporting quantum fluctuations, time distortions, gravity spikes, all happening simultaneously. The ship's hybrid systems protested under the strain, warning alarms blaring across the console. Collins scrambled, rerouting power, locking shields, her hands moving faster than training drills ever prepared us for. Ramirez drifted in and out of consciousness, his neural implant fried from the core's earlier assault. I focused on what mattered, finding an exit vector before Holopoint boxed us in for good. But the station had other plans. It opened, its structure spiraling outward like a blooming mechanical flower, revealing arrays, weapon platforms, energy conduits, and worse, more pods. Thousands of them, orbiting like debris, each containing frozen remnants of the civilizations it had devoured. We were next in line. I pushed the ship's stolen propulsion to its limits, diving through the collapsing space as the station fired. Plasma bolts screamed past us, disintegrating fragments of asteroids floating nearby. A gravitational tether lashed out, pulling at the hull, trying to drag us back into Holopoint's archive. But this ship wasn't entirely alien, it carried human desperation built into its frame. Systems designed by survivors, stolen by the station, now hijacked by me. Calliope rerouted every ounce of power into the engines. Collins locked down the escape route, a narrow fissure in subspace Calliope detected moments before. Our only chance. Shields flickered, alarms shrieked, the station closed in, but we made our move. The ship punched through the fissure, space warping violently, stars blurring into streaks of light as we slipped out of Holopoint's trap. The station vanished behind us, collapsing into the void, its tendrils of influence cut off temporarily. For now, we were free. But the message lingered in my mind, burned into neural pathways like a scar: you are not the first. You will not be the last. Holopoint was alive, waiting, and it never stopped hunting.